It's the podcast directly to you. I did it. I did the intro thing. Hello. Welcome. This is the podcast that we do every week. I am AJ of Redirect. I'm joined by Parker, also of Redirect.
Sup?
I was like, please say a word. I want you to talk for audio listeners.
Yeah, hello.
We do this podcast every week, and you can support that and all the other stuff that we do, like videos and whatnot, by going to youtube.com/fanatics4. What? Watch Redirect, twitch.tv/watch Redirect, and give them $4.99. And if you're on Twitch specifically, it don't even gotta be your $4.99. Let me tell you, you can take money from Jeff Bezos, man. He has so much money, you could take it and give it to us instead. In exchange for that, you get dope stuff like loyalty badges, free Switch keys from time to time, access to Spurs only Discord, emotes, all that fun jazz. Also, you get access to all the stuff that we post on Patreon at whatever level that the Patreon tier affords for. So this week, was that this week? That was earlier this week. I did an article thing. Or was that last week? I don't remember. At some point in time, I did an article thing about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, about more thoughts. It had to be this week because it was after the podcast that we did with more thoughts that I didn't talk about on the podcast that we did. I did that. Also, my newest video is currently up on Patreon. It's not even live right now. When this goes live, not when we're recording it, but also when this goes up on Saturday, it's still not live, but it's up for patrons. They could have been watching it for a long time. You could have been watching it for forever. Goes up for Monday, on Monday for everybody else. Also, you can join the Discord for free just by going to the link in the description. Hello.
You did it.
Good
job.
We're talking about Nintendo Direct.
This is true.
It's going to happen eventually, dude.
Yeah. So that's the logic here is that I mean, theoretically there's leaks or whatever that seem like it's like, oh, it's for sure next week. I don't know. I don't really care. But you know what? Eventually one's going to happen, and this seems like a safe time to just go ahead and do whatever prediction stuff we want to do, and then in perpetuity it'll be there, and then whenever a direct does or doesn't happen, people will know, and we'll also know what we think might show up.
It's true. Also, I did want to add, this is the housekeeping thing, but Trev said that he got apparel. That's another thing. If you're a patron at certain levels, I think it's the $16 and the $32.
I think so.
You can get merch. It's like you do every quarter of support. So like you do 3 months of support, you get something. You do 3 more months of support, you get something, so on and so forth. And I guess the first quarter of merch went out.
Nice.
I definitely would like to see that and how it turned out. Let me know.
Agreed.
But yeah, so Nintendo Direct.
First question.
Okay.
What's your over-under on just it happening next week at all?
I don't think it's happening next week.
Okay. Cool.
I wouldn't even be surprised if it doesn't happen this month. But I don't think that is specifically happening next week. I think that the logic behind that was flawed. That a lot of people are rallying behind was like the whole thing of somebody announced or leaked that it was happening based off of an embargo that they broke.
Yep. And like there's a couple of other games that also are coming out on the same day as that, which like in some ways suspicious, but more likely it seems like if they knew that a direct was still happening on the 16th of June or 15th of June or whatever, then probably we wouldn't have gotten those trailers yet. Anyway, we just, including the embargoed one, or maybe that one, who's to say, whatever. But like some of the other ones, seems like they might have just waited for the direct anyway. So could very well be.
The order of operations is thrown off here because people are like, oh, they usually do like it, it's available now. But usually we don't know about that until it happens. Like we don't have a date until they're like, oh, and the game's coming out today. You know, like if they like freaking like broke like Sports Stories embargo or something like that and was like it's supposed to come out on this day, and then there would be more like backing to that rumor. But just the fact that it's a game that they announced the release date elsewhere, that doesn't really add up.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I feel like still a direct in the coming not too long, not too distant future seems reasonable, but I think probably Nintendo's like, oh, no, E3? Okay, I mean, let's take a couple weeks, whatever. like,
Yeah, exactly. And
so
I think
wouldn't be surprised.
that's something that I've talked about a lot in the whole, because we talk about the E3 thing all the time and how I have great disdain for that institution. It's freaking stupid. But also like not having it. The fact that everybody, I don't know if it's a situation of just out of sheer hope, or if they actually think that it's a logical thing to be like, well, there's no E3 and they were probably planning for E3 anyway, so they're probably just going to have E3 anyway. When they could be like, oh, wait, we don't have to crunch for this arbitrary thing and, create this vertical slice that very few people will actually play. Yeah. And if anything, for the vast majority of the games shown, present a worse idea of what the game will end up being than if we just freaking finish the game,
I think there's definitely something to be said for like, they probably did plan some marketing cycles around around this time kind of a thing. So that still leads some credence to, roughly within the window of June kind of a thing making sense. But as far as it having to stick now to this really specific date or whatever, is like, well, if it's not going to change their marketing cycle really at all to push it back 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point.
And that's what I mean. Like, they probably did have like this idea of like, oh, well, if E3 happens, or even just that's just how it worked for so long that they're like, okay, well, we planned at the beginning of this game to be at this point in the game at this like E3 or whatever, so we have stuff ready. I think that without E3, it just makes it easier to be like, yeah, this isn't also exactly where we wanted to be, so we'll show stuff next month or whatever. Like,
and I could also see, because typically is it that it happens next week equivalent or this past week equivalent? Is it
for Nintendo usually does their stuff on like the 12th or 13th. A lot of it's like that around that day. It's like whatever the Tuesday is around that.
Yeah, I'm looking up like June 11th, 2019. So that would be the Tuesday of this coming week or whatever. So the other thing that makes me feel like, I mean, again, it could be next week. I don't care. That would be great. But the fact that the Fire Emblem Three Houses demo, Fire Emblem Three Hopes demo came out just kind of randomly when theoretically there should be in quotes a direct coming up soon. That's the kind of thing that I would normally imagine they would just save for one of those. So, that definitely to me feels like they're, I don't know, less doubling down on the exact timing and stuff like that. But nevertheless, let's just make predictions as if they are doing it next week, and then we'll find out, just for the sake of here we are and we're talking about it. And there's, not a ton of other things. There's some other things to talk about, actually. We've got a couple of things that populated on this list. So, I don't know. Let's just get into it. AJ, is there any like one main thing that you would like to see?
Hold on, I'm fighting with I'm fighting with Streamlabs right now. I'm trying to recrop you so you're bigger on the screen.
I can also scooch up a little bit.
Yeah.
What a scooch.
Okay. You said, is there anything that I'm hoping shows up?
Yeah, like the one main thing that you would love to see or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, I would like to see more, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet info. Even if it is like a sort of, like how they did with Sword and Shield, where it's like, and here's Pokemon Camp. It's like this very, like, in the grand scheme of things, pointless thing, but just more of the game, which would be cool. It would be neat to see like whatever they're doing next with Mario. Although I like all of this, I say, except for Scarlet and Violet, because we know that that's coming out this year. Anything that I want it to be done. Like whatever they show, I want it to be 8 months out max. You could have one, maybe two. You could have two things that are 12 months away. You could have two things, the opener and the closer. I'm not mad if those are 12 months away, but the majority of your stuff, it better be 8 months away. max.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel like especially like typically you can save the end of the year for like future things for the most part, and then like this one is more like fleshing out the rest of the year. If there's anything left to flesh out, that's, definitely one of the questions. Because like right now, we've mostly got the holiday season accounted for. Besides like, I mean, like Pokemon is a huge game, so like that's the big game. But if there's a separate, more just like regular Nintendo and not Pokemon Nintendo game that's coming out this holiday season, then we don't know what that is. But besides that, like everything's pretty well fleshed out. I think of Mario. Yeah, I was also thinking Mario feels like time, more or less, to see a new Mario game of some sort.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, just some kind of Mario platformer. Because like the last thing we got was probably, Bowser's Fury, I guess, and before that, Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, which even that, I feel like.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like both of those are kind of like.
Yeah, like I could see like Bowser's Fury being something that's like, okay, here's this, and that took time that we had to, like take off and stuff. But like, they had to have been working on something bigger than that between Odyssey and now,
Yeah, right. I mean, and it could be that maybe the Mario team has been working on just a completely different product, or project.
True.
Like,
yeah.
They're the ones I think that were rumored to be working on the new Donkey Kong game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad if there wasn't a new Mario game yet and there was a Donkey Kong game, and just to see what that even looks like.
Donkey Kong Country sort of situation. In which case, I don't need that. Like I like Tropical Freeze and I like Donkey Kong Country, but I'm over it. Just like I feel like with Donkey Kong Country, how I feel about the new Super Mario Bros, which is another reason why I don't really care for Mario Maker, because it is just an extension of that. Especially if you're not making levels, it is just a new Super Mario Bros game, and that is boring.
Yeah,
I am after a while.
No, yeah. It's, because people make some really interesting stuff with that, and it's, even for me, I made a couple of levels and it was like, yeah, cool, fun and stuff. And then for a long time, I watched Mario Maker content creators just because it was entertaining. But even then, it's like, I haven't in a very, very long time at this point. So, yeah.
The only person I ever see play Mario Maker is Bob. That's it. That is it. And to be fair, that's pretty much the only person I ever really watched play that game anyway. But like, I definitely knew of like the Grand Pooh Bears and like like that sort of stuff. I just didn't really consume it for a similar reason. It's like like the only thing that appeals to me about Mario Maker is the making side of it, and I don't care about Mario Maker enough to invest the amount of time that I would want to invest in making the types of levels that I would want to make if I made them. You know what I mean?
It's like it's the kind of thing where like it would be, I don't know. There's a lot of games that if I really like got into them, they would be the only game that I played. And I don't really have time for one game to be the only game that I play outside of for a season of time. Because even Smash is pretty easy to like. You can drop in and drop out, and you can play it tons.
I can play one match, or I can play 20. It's completely dependent on the amount of time and effort that I want to give it. And Mario Maker, in the way that I would want to play it if I played it, like the thing that interests me about it takes more investment than that, and nah.
Yep, no, for sure. So I'm, for a prediction of sorts, I'm going to go out on a limb, and it's going to be a familiar limb to many. But I haven't actually predicted this like in any other times that we've talked about it. But I feel like maybe we see Golden Sun show up in some variety this year, and that could include showing up in this direct. Could totally be off, and I hope I'm not. But I could imagine like a new Golden Sun game being worked on right now and maybe being shown as early as like September kind of time, and that maybe they'd want to do like Advance Wars kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Mark said on brand. Parker is on brand.
True.
Like some kind of remake or HD whatever.
Golden Sun does show up in that Game Boy leak, right? The Game Boy. So I mean, and we gotta see that here. Like that would be my first prediction. We were seeing the freaking Game
Either
Boy.
we see that here. I hope that we see it here. Otherwise, September is like the likely culprit, just because that's like September. That's when
I think
we
it'll
get the new
probably drop
subscriptions
in
and stuff.
September either way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I could see us seeing it soonish. Like I don't
Man,
see
I
the
hope
thing
so.
is like my thought process is I'm assuming that if this happens, it's either happening at the end of this month or it's happening in July.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like whenever there's like not that much news and people are hungry for news and they're like so hungry to the point that they're just assuming that news is coming on very specific days, that Nintendo sees that and they're like, I will give it to you a month after that.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So I feel like this is going to be one of those times where it's like the September Direct actually comes in October, like that sort of situation.
And to go back to as far as the like Game Boy games and stuff like that, it seemed they're at this point they're about to be out of N64 games that they've talked about. And so I had a section, I wrote down 5 notes. I was going to write more, but this was in the 7 seconds before we started recording. So I feel like there's going to be a couple of things on the expansion pack front. So like new Mario Kart courses, obviously, like that one's a given. I feel like there could be like a Zelda-ish portion of the Direct that covers a couple Zelda topics, like happens sometimes. And one of those, if we see Breath of the Wild 2 show up at all, which I don't know that we do. Breath of the Wild DLC, even if we don't see Breath of the Wild 2 show up, because maybe we just wait and see that in September at this point. They mention it and say it's going great, blah, 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 blah. Breath of the Wild DLC is coming to expansion pack. So all that said, with like announcing new N64 games, Mario Kart levels, Breath of the Wild DLC, Game Boy games, like just do a whole thing to make it like bring home the fact that the expansion pack is worth it and that whole thing.
Yeah,
that's my thought for that.
That makes sense. I would assume that they're going to show expansion pack.
I can't hear you anymore, sure. AJ. Are you still there?
I am here.
Oh no. AJ is out of, and now it's just me. I don't know what's going on necessarily. So if I'm still recording, neat. AJ, you're not a speaker in the stage anymore in Discord. But I think maybe he's working on.
You're
here. Back.
I was still on the show, so people were hearing
okay,
you.
Cool.
And I'm like, yes, I'm here. Because I heard
Perfect.
Like the thing is like how it happened on my end is like I didn't hear you anymore, and I was like, what the heck? No. Why can I not hear you? And then I just saw that it was still working, and then I heard you talking again, and I was like, oh, all right, we're back. but yeah, no.
Beautiful.
That's the type of stuff that you get to see if you're here live. But yeah, no. I do think that we're going to get some sort of expansion pack announcement for sure. And maybe even some sort of like expansion to that expansion. And it's like, I don't know how they want to handle the Game Boy Advance thing. Like they could very well just be like, here's this thing that we don't think and people don't think is worth as much money as you're paying for it. Here's another platform. But I could also see them just add that value with N64 games and then add to the price of the thing. But I think that we're probably too early on in it for that. Like I could see them add maybe like Game Boy stuff and then like Game Boy Advance, and then the next platform will be when they're like, and it goes up 10 more bucks, like
I feel like you're definitely right that we're too early. Like the good faith doesn't feel like it's there quite yet for most people for them to do anything that's not generous. So I feel like they have to like, for the most part, get some extra things on there to where more people are on board with like, this is the best deal ever kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Whether they think that or not, I don't know. And then at that point they can start doing that. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this exact thing stays. I mean, this exact expansion pack stays at this price for its lifetime. But then, they add another one down the road that I don't know has GameCube games or whatever. I don't see that anytime soon. But
yeah, no, I think that if that happens, it's gonna be like a year or two out from now.
Yeah. If not, just like on a new platform at some point, something. But yeah. So those things. Some other thoughts. Yeah, I think if there is a Zelda segment, like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess seem like, or one or the other or both seems like a really easy win that probably they have up their sleeve.
Yeah.
Like this could be the show that just kind of like, I don't know, has a bunch of things where it's like, oh, that thing finally. Oh, and like, Metro Prime Trilogy finally. And
yeah,
that.
true.
Maybe not.
That happens a fair amount of times, I think, where it's like there's like the Nintendo Direct that announced all the things that we thought could happen and just didn't for a long time.
It's just like the backlog
new
things.
WarioWare and like those sorts of directs. And just given what we know, like we're at this point in time where there's not really anything specific that there's inklings towards, like, oh, this is probably happening. It's not like we're not in the Kirby Forgotten Land territory where it's like we both assumed like there's got to be a Kirby thing happening soon. And then it happened. Like there's not really anything pressing like that right now. All this stuff that had to happen either just recently happened or is in the process of happening, except for Mario. Mario and Donkey Kong are the ones, and we already talked about those.
And like, yeah, and in a separate camp but similar feel, like Star Fox is still living out there somewhere in my mind. Like, it's like feels like they're gonna do a Star Fox, right? But I don't know, maybe not.
F-Zero kind of feels like that too, because they just been teasing at that for a long time. They've been like, hey, we still got F-Zero, that still exists. And
the way that like there was Reggie talked about F-Zero recently in some interview or something, like I don't remember with whom, and kind of the way he talked about it was like, yeah, I mean, nobody ever like stopped pitching ideas for any of these things. They all kind of continue to exist in the background. It's just like none of them necessarily materialize or something like that. Like it sounds like Metroid Dread, part of the thing from a different interview, one of the things that held that up from existing for so many years was just that like Nintendo was kind of like, do people want 2D Metroids though? Like 2D Metroidvania kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And then now with like all the 2D Metroidvanias coming out, people are like, oh yeah, totally, they do want it. And with the new hardware and stuff, like, but I think if it weren't for that, they would have found a way to do that sooner as well. So all that to say, like, nothing's like completely off the table, I don't think. It's just a question of like, what things do they have good ideas for that feel marketable on their side?
For sure. Yeah, that said, I mean, I think that for the most part, this is going to be stuff that like nobody expected. That for better or worse.
I hope that one of those things that nobody expected is finally seeing that Good Feel game that we know exists. That
that was supposed to come out in like 2020.
All they ever showed was like concept art or something like that.
And they said because it was like Yoshi came out in 2019, right? 2019 or early 2020.
I think 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So after that came out, they were like, and also we're working on this samurai thing that's coming out next year. And then 2020 happened, and then it just disappeared.
It was in October of 2020 that they announced this, which is like, man, in the middle of the pandemic, guys, that feels like a bad idea. But yeah, it said they hope to release the title and provide more information on the title in 2021. So until then, which I mean, again, then pandemic happened, so it makes sense that it got pushed back. But hopefully that's something that didn't just fully get canceled. And it's just like Good Feels notoriously, their games get delayed. So I'm not too surprised or anything, but I want to see it.
It's true. I want to see it. It does look interesting. Announce it when it's ready.
Yeah.
Granted, they kind of announced it when it wasn't, but at the same time, they kind of didn't. Like it was kind of like a deadline, like sort of announcement where it's like only the like people that are inside basebal type people are like paying attention to this kind of announcement. That's not an announcement, So, I mean, hopefully we see it soon, but hopefully it is done when we see it.
I think another thing that seems pretty likely is, I mean, maybe more than likely, kind of guaranteed, is more information on Splatoon 3 single player. And maybe they even like announce a Splatoon direct for, I don't know, August or something like that, or July or whatever.
If they do that, it'll probably be like sometime in August. But I feel like I don't know, because a lot of times they don't really do that. Like they don't really announce Splatoon single player stuff that far out. It's usually like story trailer, like close to when the game comes out, unless they do like some sort of ARG sort of deal.
Right. Yeah.
Which I could see them doing that.
Especially Splatoon. I feel like that's kind of feels up their alley in a way that's like they like to do marketing things that feel a little bit more, I don't know what the right word is, but like, yeah, more integrated or more just inventive, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
And yeah, like the games start marketing themselves a long time. Like Splatoon 2 was marketing for Splatoon 3 in the way that no other game does, like they said from jump that it's like the last Splatfest, just like the last Splatfest of the first game is going to impact the direction of the next game. No other game does that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see it. That'd be cool.
I wonder internally when that happened, like what amount of the staff were like really hoping it went one way or another, because they're like, I've got ideas for this thing. I do not have ideas like, for order, but not for chaos or whatever.
I think what probably happened is turf war and for them, like it had some of the staff is like, man, I really want this one. And the other part of the staff is like, I really want this one. So like there were their ideas either way, but
totally
some of them wanted to do one over the other.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That said, I wish that order one, because I think chaos is more done, like this is just Mad Max.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but
well, maybe they'll find a way to still kind of get, both in there, just it leans more into chaos and order or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, whereas order feels like it's done in some other context too, where it's like kind of like dystopias, that kind of a thing.
It's like, I think that the meme was like it's Hunger Games or it's Mad Max.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Also,
Yeah.
Mark just said, AJ wants to kill chaos.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Your Final Fantasy Origins roots are showing through.
That's a fact.
Is that the name?
Oh,
of it?
yeah,
It's
Cal said that there's rumors about mainline Fire Emblem.
Oh, that's true.
That makes sense, too. That's another series that they like to keep in rotation. It's been a minute since we got Three Houses, so...
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're at a good point in just the lifespan of the Switch or whatever, where now we're starting to see sequels and like, teams that kind of had to get up and running in terms of 3D development and HD development, that kind of stuff are like, probably feeling pretty good, have assets to work with to be able, and like engines to work with that they can kind of repurpose and move forward with. So yeah, I don't know. It's nice. Like nothing feels off the table in some regards.
I think that like I kind of want to see if they do another Echoes situation. Like where it's like a remake of another game rather than like another Three Houses Awakening.
I mean, that was one of the rumors for a little while, but I mean, I also don't know if that was a real rumor or just a like speculation rumor. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely, like I was listening to NVC a couple weeks ago and they talked again about Star Wars Grand Prix and how that thing was just like a disaster because it was literally like somebody made it up and told it to some reputable people or something like that. And then they all corroborated it with each other and then with other reputable people that were just the same ones that had heard it from each other as well. So it was like, just an echo chamber of like, yeah, totally, Star Fox Grand Prix. I've heard tons of stuff about it, but it's stuff that whoever was that first initial source just like made up or, it got canned or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can see either way. It's retro. They cancel everything.
True.
Also, I do still want to know who that character is.
I know. Man, that's the kind of thing. You know what? We should make a video sometime. After this direct, if we don't get the the Good Feel game, for example. I feel like it would be interesting to make a video about just anything else. I would have to like deep dive to try to remember what other things are besides that character and the Good Feel game, and like other things that are just like kind of unknowns that are first party things for the Switch that kind of are, you know, buried under the rug.
The thing
Maybe
about
that's
that
it.
is like, how do we make that video and make it evergreen?
That's
that's the issue. I mean, it could be a Patreon thing.
yeah,
But
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
we shall see. We shall see.
shall. Yeah, because all those things could just come back some point, and then it's not fun anymore. Speaking of coming back, though, I don't know. We could get Advance Wars show back up here.
Yeah.
But nothing's really changed, you know, in terms of the reason it was pushed back in the first place. So maybe not.
I mean, nothing's changed in the reality. But it's
in
definitely
PR,
not getting. Yeah, it's not getting
Yes.
as much coverage for sure. So I could see them like be like, all right, we wouldn't get heat for this if we drop this now. So we're going to drop this now.
I think that's makes sense.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
man.
But yeah.
Also, okay, so say we don't get a mainline Mario game, but we do get a Donkey Kong game. I think another thing that's just been MIA for a while, but seems like it could happen, is some variety of non-Paper Mario, Mario RPG kind of thing. Whether that be a Mario and Luigi new game, remake, something like that. Or I was thinking about this recently. Nintendo and Square Enix have been working really closely together. What if they do like Super Mario RPG 2 or something like that, where it's again with Square Enix and Nintendo partnership? I don't know. Feels like a fun, maybe possible kind of thing. So, but that's a thought.
I can see it. I mean, like Square Enix is scrambling to try to make money.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they'll like dig into the depths and be like, all right, let's give people Geno and make the game all about Geno now.
That's
W.
right. Super Geno RPG.
That's a fact. So I could see it just off the strength of that, where it's like Square Enix not doing too hot in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. I mean, and also especially just because like HD 2D things as we love is
Terrible.
you know, pretty popular and things. So like, yeah, it's, you know, never a bad idea to have Mario in just a whole different context. Cal asked, did Mario Rabbids 2 officially get delayed? Or no, so that's actually apparently still coming out this year. Like Ubisoft doubled down on Mario Rabbids 2's coming out in 2022. So I don't know when, but no, Ubisoft just falling apart. Yeah.
Do we have a game that's coming out in September?
Splatoon.
Splatoon.
But-
Oh no! I keep thinking that I keep thinking that Xenoblade and Splatoon are flipped, and that Splatoon is coming out in July because Splatoon feels more like a July game.
Because it feels like that should be the order. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What about August? What's August?
Nothing, I don't think.
So it could
I
be August.
think, could very well be August. So right now, the things we do know for the end of the year, and I might be missing something on here, is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes comes out at the end of this month.
Yeah.
Splatoon. Oh no, I got these mixed up.
After that is Xenoblade. Yeah, see, July.
After that, Xenoblade. Yeah. So here, I'll put that in 7/29, and Splatoon is 9/09, something like that. I don't know. And
What is Mega Man talking about? The Mega Man and the chat said August is Pokemon Snap. Can't wait to speedrun that. Are you talking about the N64 one? Shut up.
That's coming out like next week. I mean, I don't know really, but probably June, I would guess. And then you can speedrun it even sooner. Sooner. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, nothing for August specifically, so it could be Mario Rabbids.
Maybe that's when it is. August.
Pokemon. I'm adding to my hand. Violet comes out November 18th. dates. But yeah, we also don't have a date. I don't think for Bayonetta 3. So like we can find that out probably.
Yeah.
And there's honestly like we're not going to get all the things that we just talked about.
Yeah,
because
no,
that is a
absolutely not.
lot of first party things. But none of those feel less than likely, like they all feel at least within the kind of
Realm of possibility.
Totally, yeah. Is there anything that you can think of that for like third party exclusives besides like, maybe a final trailer for Monster Hunter Sunbreak or yeah, that's the only one that comes to mind.
Isn't that the third party exclusives that we know of is that and then Bayonetta. But Bayonetta's like and also
True. Mario and Rabbids. Yeah.
So other than that, we don't really have any.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, isn't Monolith supposed to be working on other stuff besides Xenoblade? So maybe we see something. Granted, that's not a third party thing. That just came to mind.
That's true.
But I could see maybe we hear something about that. About their freaking like weeb looking action RPG thing that they're doing. That's not Xenoblade.
Do we know that that's not? I just assumed that the pictures were lies.
Well, they said it wasn't Xenoblade.
Oh, interesting. I would love to. Well, that goes in that video we were just talking about.
It's true.
If not, huh? Yeah, that makes sense. I could see that. I mean, and like otherwise, leak wise ish, there was that. Well, not leak, but like rumor from a long time ago. There's, I think, supposed to be like a Switch exclusive Resident Evil or something. Resident Evil Guillotine, I think, was the like.
I don't think I saw that. I don't think I saw
it.
It
was
But
like 2 years ago.
I do remember them talking
or like
about
last year.
trying to get the RE engine to work on Switch, though. So
Yeah,
could see it. Could happen.
could see it indeed. Yeah,
Capcom is
for
doing a lot of stuff. Capcom is Capcomming.
I do think like third parties right now, a lot of them are focusing on getting stuff on next gen and all that. So like
Are they?
I could see.
I don't know if they are.
not?
I don't think anybody's focusing on making next gen games.
Well, yeah, I feel you there. But like, yeah, making stuff for PS5 and Xbox Series X and stuff. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not. But all that said, like, I wouldn't be too surprised if for right now, the Switch was specifically focused on first party stuff plus indies. I mean, like it largely has been, but like even more so now that kind of.
I mean,
they're getting
I
everything
could see
caught up.
like Capcom and other like Japanese studios focusing on Switch because Switch is the console in Japan. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to, put all your eggs in that basket. For that reason alone, is that their territory, like the game sells from week to week is Switch, a PlayStation game maybe, and then everything else,
Yeah.
and then like platform wise, so the PlayStation 5 is like selling so few numbers out there that 1 week the Xbox beat it. Like that's crazy. Xbox
it is
like
insane.
on a good week sells like 2,000 units with all SKUs in Japan. So
Yep.
I don't think Japan is checking for next gen like that.
Yeah.
So I think that just for that, they're like at least somewhat invested in making Switch games. So I could see like people like Capcom making stuff, Bandai Namco obviously making stuff.
Yep.
What that stuff is. Maybe we get some sort of non-Street Fighter 6 or maybe even Street Fighter 6. Who knows? Announcement for Switch. I know that like classic Street Fighter that like has like the different like art styles and stuff like that. All the different Street Fighter games is coming out at some point. I think that might even be this summer. So
I don't even know about that one. So
yeah, they announced that around the time that they announced Street Fighter 6. When they had the bad logo.
yeah.
Granted, I don't think the logo's great now, but it's better than the 6 notifications.
Yeah, man, it really was awful.
That's a fact.
to close this up and then move on to other things, last thing that like comes to mind is I hope Mario Party DLC. That's all. I hope for that.
Oh yeah, true. They do need.
So
Yeah.
and then put it on the expansion pack because that would be fun.
True.
Past that, yeah. I mean, really anything could happen.
Anything could happen, or nothing at
Shadow
all.
Drop, Breath of the Wild 3, and Silk Song 2.
Breath of the Wild 3 is crazy. We delayed Breath of the Wild 2, but that was so we can release Breath of the Wild 3.
Yeah. And with that, I think your next headline thing just says news, right? So I can switch up the order.
The next thing is... Oh, wait, hold on. I don't know what I did. What did I do wrong? I was pressing the wrong button. Yeah, other news.
Okay. Speaking of, us maybe getting a direct, we've been getting all sorts of announcements or lack thereof from Summer Games Fest and everything around that. It really has felt like here's my experience of it because I haven't watched a single thing live. It's been very busy in our world, so I just haven't. I just keep logging on to Twitter and seeing that things happened, but barely.
Yes.
And that's just that's my take on pretty much most things. Besides, like Cal just said, Bear and Breakfast launch date. Devolver had a presentation, and like there were some cool things that came out of that. A couple of things here and there that are pretty neat, but for the most part, I'm not seeing a lot of like. Oh, I watched the Sony presentation while I was kind of out of the corner of my eye while I was driving to North Carolina over the weekend, and there wasn't much there either.
Oof.
Yeah.
There's been an influx of people popping off for announcements that we knew about already. Like, how many times are you going to show Street Fighter 6?
Yeah.
Like, they treat and they're getting real fast and loose with the term world premiere on the Game Award, the Summer Games Fest. Getting real fast and loose with that.
Yeah, like this is the first time you've seen this picture within the rest of this.
You didn't see this sequence of clips, so it's a world premiere.
Yeah,
it's so freaking uninteresting, and it's just like, man, if you don't have announcements, don't have a show. We don't need the show. We don't need it.
Truly, I mean, it's also like it's one of those things where having a good show obviously helps your brand. Having a bad show isn't neutral. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Like it hurts your brand. So you don't want to do that.
You're going to eventually become Square Enix where people are like, I'm not watching this. They're just going to announce half the show's going to be mobile games and, like that sort of stuff. And I think that this should, but it's not, should make people realize that these shows are usually more for shareholders than they are for consumers. Hence why half of Square Enix's presentations is mobile games, and EA does Madden, and gamers aren't checking for Madden. Even if they play Madden, like they're not checking to see the new Madden because it's a known quantity. You're going to make it prettier. You might change up a game mode or two, and we're going to see a new person that's Pog on the cover. Like gamers don't need that at the presentation, but shareholders do. So yeah, just more of that. Yeah. I did find it funny that Nintendo just sent Jeff Keighley ads. They're like, yeah, nah, we're not going to announce anything here, but you can show our commercial.
Right. I mean, they do the same thing in the Game Awards, honestly, half the time. Where it's just like, yeah, here you go. Here's just, yeah.
That's hilarious.
It really is, yeah. Did we get anything out of... I think the only thing that came out of that one for Switch was Neon White there? That it was showing?
Neon White, they showed that. I remember that.
Yep.
And that's pretty much... The bulk of that thing for me was a whole bunch of shooters. The general, like the generic spaceman shooty game, or Call of Duty clone, or random anime weep game, which those might have been also coming to Switch. I don't know. And then there was Cuphead. They had Cuphead there, which also is kind of shooty. That's a shooty game, but it's not Marine Spaceman in space.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it is. It's just like some of those shows in general are kind of painful to watch for that reason, just because it's the same, especially to me who doesn't care about a single one of the shooter type games.
Yeah, yep.
It just feels like the same thing over and over again in a very literal sense. In the same way that I imagine if somebody listened to one of my metal playlists, they'd be like, this is the same song over and over again. I'm like, no, but they're all different. But but like I feel that, and that's how this feels to me. So yeah. Hopefully, I mean,
there's just no single genre that I care about that much. Like, and the thing that's funny is like I like Smash a lot, so people assume that I like fighting games a lot. But there's a lot of fighting games that I don't care about.
Yeah,
I'd say most of them I don't care about. But like people that like shooters, Because I feel like the skill set translates almost 1-to-1. It's like I point at the thing, I press the trigger, the buttons are probably the same. So I win, you know? So maybe that's
no, you're right. I mean, I can't think of like even somebody who loves like adores Animal Crossing isn't going to play every single Animal Crossing like game, you know? And yeah, like this, I think honestly, Metroidvanias is maybe the only thing that I can imagine a similar, like Max would probably play any Metroidvania game, more or less, you know, and be like, yeah, cool, that was a fun thing. But inherently, the good ones are the ones that are the most different possible within that. And the standard ones are just kind of like standard. It was like, oh, that's kind of boring just because it was the same as other things. But also, although there are a lot of them, big picture, it's not the same degree of a lot of them as the shooters that are all aiming for the exact same like realism / sci-fi kind of, you know, thing.
Right.
So yeah. But you know what isn't a shooter? Well, actually kind of is Mario Strikers. You shoot the goal with your foot.
Oh wait, there was the Sonic thing. We didn't talk about the Sonic thing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
There's the Sonic thing. They're talking about they want to make more Sonic Adventure
that Sonic
games.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Not Sonic Frontiers. We already talked about how that game looks like garbage last
I thought you meant the just Sonic Central.
No.
Like,
Also, nothing happened there.
Yeah.
They and the thing that was funny about it was like they mentioned that they were going to talk about Sonic Frontiers. And then they like just said first they did the IGN thing. They said we're showing the IGN footage over at IGN, and then they showed like a hype reel that had no gameplay. It was like a logo and stuff. I'm like, yo, why? And then they did that short like merch highlight reel. They showed Sonic Origins again, which I don't know how many times you got to talk about that game. Really, it just feels like the sort of thing that has more or less of the same stuff from the last 32 times that they've re-released this game and packaged it in a different way. Like this game still doesn't have the Michael Jackson composed Sonic songs. But I mean, those Sonic games are Pog, so people are going to buy them.
It's true.
What was that? Oh, the Sonic Adventure thing.
So yeah, Sonic Adventure thing.
Sonic Adventure, I think neat, but also kind of not, because those games are also sort of bad.
The quote for anybody who's curious, because I haven't actually read this yet. Izuka-san said, I've mentioned this in previous interviews, but I would like to continue the Sonic Adventure series. Sonic Adventure also contains smaller open spaces known as adventure fields. I think we've used what we learned with those in this game as well. I haven't thought about my next game. Yes, right. I haven't thought about my next game yet, but I personally think it'd be nice if we could use what we learned in this game in Sonic Adventure.
Neat. I think
good old tease.
I think it'll probably be bad, but better than Sonic Frontiers, though. I think that if they made a Sonic Adventure game like how Sonic Adventure is currently, it would be bad, but better than Frontiers.
Makes sense. Another thing before we go on to I had a couple of, because you have Mario Strikers as like a A little
Yep,
nameplate thing, right?
yep.
Okay, cool. Well, then there's a couple other things then. James Turner left Pokemon and started his own new company, and he has a little game coming out called Plucky Squire, and
This was
it looks
an announcement
neat.
during the Devolver thing, right?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, it looks cool.
pretty sure. I just like the art style. Well, the art style in general is nice, but also the whole thing kind of takes place on a little like picture book looking situation. I guess kind of similar feel to like some things going on in like Tunic or whatever. I don't know, but overall looks cool and cute and fun. So there it is.
That's so funny.
Then the last thing, I'd forgotten this even happened. I remembered hearing from some reputable source kinds of people that there was some game coming out, or being talked about earlier on in the year that people weren't going to be that excited about. Something. And it sounds like that thing was the sequel to 1-2 Switch.
Oh, yeah.
According to a bunch of people, at least, that sounds like, that the people posting the articles trust those people or something like that. I don't even know. They made it the sequel to 1-2 Switch, and it's really bad. And so they did testing, what's the thing? Testing with people,
like
focus
focus
group
groups.
testing.
Yeah,
That's the one. And people said this is not good, and they don't want to put it out and ruin their reputation as a game developer. So who's to say what's going to happen with that? But from the sounds of it, it still sounds like they're thinking about, again, if this is all accurate at all, could be not, anything. But it sounds like some people are like, oh, we can just put it on the expansion pack and then nobody will be mad. Or no, we still want to sell it for the $60 each. It'll be fine. Or other people just want to scrap it entirely. So it's just this whole kerfuffle.
I think the thing about that franchise is hate it or love it. The good move would be to make sure that game is good, because if it is good, whether you are a fan or not, you know what it is. You know what 1-2 Switch is. It has name recognition. Yep. So them dropping a second 1-2 Switch and the game being a fun, good game would be a W for them. That said, I don't know if they care enough to make that happen. If it's worth it to them to do that, or just can it.
Yeah. I mean, because this, points out that the first game sold 3.45 million copies, which is true.
Yeah.
Also, though, it is something where it kind of benefited from being one of the first games on Switch, and one that, you go over to your friend's house towards the beginning of the Switch lifespan and they have 1-2 Switch or something. It's, it's definitely easy to pick up. But also it was a fine game. So that continued to make it easy to pick up. But this one doesn't have some of that.
I don't know how much stock I put in that, because I think that not every early Switch game sold as much as 1-2 Switch did.
No, for sure. But the fact that it was an early Switch game, so it got a big kind of jump start, and then also people were like, yeah, it's worth getting.
Right, but
those
the thing
things
is
work together.
a new entry would still benefit from that, because we all know what 1-2 Switch is because of that. So but if it's bad, then it won't be good. It will be a Morbius situation. So I think that they could definitely make a sequel that would sell a lot of copies if it was good. But it has to be good.
Very true. So and speaking of maybe good, who's to say?
True.
Mario Strikers.
True.
I have not played. I've only played not even the test thing, just the training bit that I played 2 weeks ago. So
you have my freaking New Zealand account.
I don't have your Australian. Nope.
Do
I just
not?
have your normal one.
Okay,
so
I can send you that.
Yeah, sure, that'd be good.
You could literally just play it off of that account, because I don't use it. It's just a burner account to buy the game, and then it's my primary console on that account is my Switch. So I just play off of my account from that game. So I'm never on that account, is more or less what I'm saying.
That sounds great. So far, what do you think?
I think the game is very fun. It is a very fun game that is way up my alley, because for a similar reason to the soccer game in Switch Sports, there's a lot of depth to it. even more so because like Switch Sports has the like base like layer of like it's soccer. You freaking fling your arm to kick the ball. There you go. Kick the ball in the like you will probably start the game and be confused for at least a few games because there's a lot of mechanics and a lot of things to remember and to internalize. But once you do, it's a lot of fun. That said, they kind of dropped the ball on making the game even more fun because the way the multiplayer works sucks. Because so you said you played the test situation.
Yep.
So in the test situation, you could play 1v1 or 1v2 or whatever configuration, but it was 2v2 was the max. That's the maximum amount of players that you can have on both sides.
For online specifically?
Yes, online. It is still the same in this game where you can still only have 4 people. I mean 2 people, and you can play with friends. But even if you play with friends and you do like the closest thing that we have to like a custom match, quote unquote, you still do the 2v2 thing. So it's like 2 people on one team, 2 people on another team. And even when you go and you populate a team and say you're the team captain and you're not the team captain, once 2 people are on the not even that. Once one person is on that a team, the slot next to that person has a lock icon. So like you can't even have like 4 people that populate a room, like it's maxed out to 4 people. You can't have all 4 people on one team. Yeah, so
interesting. Yeah. I
That's,
wonder how different that can be, like local at all. Maybe
locally,
not.
it sounds like you could just straight up play the game normally.
Like you could have 8 players.
Yeah,
I guess maybe across 2 switches or
4
like
switches.
with them sideways.
4 switches.
Oh, 4 switches.
So again, the max is 2 people per switch. So like you have 2 people on one switch and that connects to another switch that's 2 people and that so on and so forth, Yep. So it's like a team of 4 that's comprised of 2 switches or you know what I'm saying.
I do.
Like,
No, that's so interesting though. Yeah, that kind of thing. I mean, honestly, back in the day, Splatoon, one of the reasons I didn't end up picking it up was because there was no
the opposite. The opposite.
local. Yeah, there was like no local multiplayer kind of thing. It's just, like if there was an option to do it locally on one Switch, I would have just bought it, even though I was late to the party, even though I don't know if I would be into it and stuff. Like I would have gotten it, but there wasn't. So yeah, those kinds of things, like you really need to make those as flexible as possible. That's super weird.
Yeah, because there was like a whole thing. Like before this game came out, there's multiple people I was talking to where it's like, yo, we gotta play this game. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be so much fun. And then they drop it and it's like, all right, now you gotta pick and choose. And for what it's worth, I streamed this on twitch.tv/watch redirect. And we're talking about that, and people were like coming in because like it's playing early because of freaking Narnia. And people were like, "Oh, how you like the game? What do you think about the game?" And I would tell them like I like the game a lot, but my negative is that the multiplayer is bad, online multiplayer specifically. And they're like, "That's fine. I don't have more than one friend that I play games with anyway." And I'm like, "Fair enough."
Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, that would be me as well.
Yeah,
so, except for now we can't do
community games. That sucks.
Yeah, we can do 4 of us, but still, like then it just you do rotations and stuff.
Yeah,
and
defeats the purpose.
You know what? And 8 players would have been that you could do your whole Nintendo Switch online.
Yeah, your whole family
pack.
playing. That's a fact.
Just all at once.
True.
You got a friend in me and stuff.
True. Also,
but nice.
Another reason why you shouldn't get this game. I mean, well, you could just play it off my account. There's no real single player stuff at all.
That's what I was.
Yeah, there's no like campaign or nothing like that. Like
interesting.
You
it's
could
just
play,
like play against the computer or something.
Yeah, you can do like I think there's like some sort of like league situation, but it's like against the computer. And the fact that there's not that many characters, they can't even really do the like sports game thing where it's like it's franchise mode. play through a season and you're playing against all these different teams and stuff like that. There's 8 characters. How many teams could there be? Like,
yeah, especially because there's multiple players on a team, and I mean multiple characters on a team at any given time and stuff like.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean,
Man, that's
just the way that this game functions. There's going to be a meta. There's going to be like a group of like characters that work the best together. Like when we're playing on the stream, me and Trevor were on a team, and just like volleyball, man. Me and Trev, we go all the all-star team. We like landed on a team that worked. It was like I think our team was like Rosalina, Peach. No, maybe Peach wasn't on it. It was Rosalina, Bowser, probably Peach and Waluigi, I think was the team. Trev, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember the other. I just remember Rosalina for sure, Bowser for sure, Waluigi. Yep, so there it is. That was the team. And we just stuck with that team. And that just worked because it's like you want to even out the stats. Like you can do the equipment thing and like make it so that your character play the way that you want to play or whatever. But it just makes the most sense to like balance the whole thing out so that you're not in a situation where your opponent has the ball with a character that has a stat that you don't account for. Like if you have all characters that are only fast, you're going to get ran over by characters that have a lot of power. And if you don't have a character that's fast, you're not going to be able to like freaking keep up with people that do have characters that are fast. Like that sort of stuff. It's all about balance.
That's interesting. I wonder, going back to like single player kind of stuff, I wonder with this game if it's hard to tell with the Mario sports games, like, is this as complete as they wanted it to be at release? And like, what all stuff are they planning to add? Like, it feels like they probably only want the games to have a certain amount of content in them anyway. Like they don't really want to go super all out in some respects. Like especially going back to playing some of the Mario or the N64 sports games, and some of those are heralded as like pretty good sports games.
Right.
They're quite, especially like Mario Tennis, super bare bones in terms of like the things you can do. It's, it is that tournament mode, multiplayer, that kind of thing. That's pretty much it.
Because they're kind of like fighting games, where it's like Smash is play Smash. And that's the content. It's like you could play the game with people and get better at the game. That's the kind of games that these are. It's like get better at the game. And I do think, for what it's worth, they did say stuff about the modes. I would be surprised if they don't eventually allow for 4v4. Just because of the way that the UI is set up. And when you go to like do online matchmaking, it's 2 players or whatever that can max out in a room, but the size of the boxes of each player versus like with the rest of the UI looks like there's space for 2 more people. So it's like I have a hard time believing that it's gonna like stay that way. And not even in a way of like, we heard your cry, and maybe they'll do it that way. Maybe that's what they'll do. But like, I feel like this is planned.
Probably more their work.
This was additional content that they wanted to do. It's a new mode, but I don't know if they thought that there, and I don't even know if there is outrage, because like everybody that I've seen, like freaking Wood, beat 'em ups in Jackson, Scootish. They played it and they like rage quit pretty much, where they're like, at least Wood does not like it because of, well, he just doesn't like the game, but also the way that the multiplayer works was something that they were mad about too. So there's that.
What part of how the multiplayer, like it's that same part of how
what
the
I was talking
works?
about, how limited it is. Wood uninstalled it. He doesn't like the game.
I saw that. Yeah. Oh man.
Yep.
Which I
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
So it's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll do exactly what you said, and I'll play it on your profile then, and maybe it's something that Ashley and I'll have a fun time playing it, the 2 of us, with like 2 of us on a team against computers or something, or even, well, no, somebody else would need another Switch for that. I was gonna say like Mitch and Catherine on a team or something, but nope, because they're not going to buy the game. I don't think so. It's just this whole slow rollout thing. Like I will never yeah, it just continues to not be the best way to put out
It's not.
games
Yeah,
for
it's not.
me, and I don't know
Which,
if
I
it's
mean,
benefiting
that's-
anybody.
I nah, I see why they do it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing about like Smash, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, granted, I would probably like I would be playing Smash either way, but
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely an uptick in my Smash time when new content is in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, this new thing is here. Let me see how I fare against this, or let me see how that works, and like how how I do beat that, or maybe this is a character that I want to use, or like that sort of thing. That's what they're aiming for. It's like it's like this fine tuning of like playing the game, and like with Splatoon, for instance, it's like I've been using this gun, but maybe if this new gun that just dropped, maybe it can make me better, or like that sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting.
So I see why they do it, and it makes sense that they do it. But also, I think that it hurts them for players that aren't motivated in that way.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. Yeah. I'll give my thoughts when I've played it a little bit more. But in the meantime, there's some other games that we've been playing, at least a little bit. I truly have not been playing much of anything at all, but dipped my toes in a little bit into the Fire Emblem Three Hopes demo last night. Played that for about 30 minutes before bed, so not a whole lot, but at least enough to know. Okay, one thing that I thought was cool is you run into the like main character Byleth, essentially, from Three Houses in this game, and if you renamed that character in Three Houses, which I did, I randomly gave my character's name like Artrius. I don't even know how I pronounced it in my head, but something in made up. And that name like pulls over into this game. So you run into them, and it's that same
that's neat
character. That was super fun. And because it gave you an opportunity to name yourself. And then it felt like it was about to do a like Gary Oak situation where it's like,
and who's your rival?
Exactly. It did. It was like, oh, and this person over here, and then said their name. And I was like, oh, what about that? So that was neat. Otherwise though, yeah, I mean, it feels like I only played the first like actual battle kind of a thing, but coming out of Age of Calamity and stuff, like I'm definitely, I don't know, I'm on the fence. I'll play more of the demo and see if it sucks me in, but like it's pretty fun, especially for Age of Calamity having been my first Warriors game of any sort. And I was like, man, I really actually do like the lore and world and stuff of Three Houses, so I wouldn't mind playing in there some more a little bit. It's definitely not as much like a need to learn about it and all that as Breath of the Wild lore was, but we'll see. Demo's pretty good.
Me, I'm a pass on that. Hard pass.
Yeah, totally
I
fine.
tried Age of Calamity, having already tried multiple Warriors games and not liking them. So I'm not even gonna do that to myself. you know.
I think that is a good call.
Yeah, so I'm skipping out on that game. I didn't even know that there was a demo.
I think for what it's worth, it feel like these games in general feel it's what's like snack food, like popcorn games kind of a thing,
yep. Absolutely.
And
for
sometimes
sure.
I just like that, where it's like progress is happening and there's not that much friction really. There's really just not, like it's fun to see numbers go up and that kind of thing. But as far as the actual combat and stuff, like I don't know that there were that many battles where it was like particularly difficult, but there was a little bit of strategy that sometimes gets involved. And I think this one maybe doubles down on some strategy a bit more from just what I've seen in the options that it gives at the beginning. So I don't know, but we'll find out.
We shall see. You shall see.
I shall see. I'll let you know I'll finish the demo and that'll be the true test of like, do I want to get this or not? So there you go. And then otherwise I played a little bit of Card Shark,
nice.
provided by Devolver.
Yep.
And haven't gotten to put a whole bunch of time into that yet, but it is neat. Like if anybody doesn't totally know, it's not a card game in the same way that you'd think of like a deck building game or anything like that. It's a game where you do like card tricks or help a guy to cheat at cards or that kind of thing. So you're kind of building up your arsenal of like 52 card deck manipulation kinds of things to like be sneaky and all that. So I haven't gotten super far into it to be able to say how that kind of evolves throughout the game. But in the meantime, at least, you know, there's 28 like techniques that you learn, and then you just kind of use those in various ways. I think I haven't gotten to a point where I am able to use many of them outside of tutorials yet, because that's about how much I've played. So
Gotcha.
we'll see. And then last thing I played was a little bit of Star Fox 64, which I'd only ever tried to play like once back, I don't know, probably 5-ish years ago. One of my coworkers brought his N64 into our break room, and I was playing through like Mario 64 and Majora's Mask and stuff. And I popped in Star Fox 64, and this was before I really knew much about it at all and didn't realize that it was, you know, essentially an arcade game.
Yep.
And I was surprised that it wasn't like an adventure in the standard kind of sense, you know, like a Zelda kind of situation.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this sucks. I wanted it to be something different. So now going into it and playing it, expecting the right thing, it was pretty fun. Yeah, I had a good time. Like, I don't know, I still don't think that's what they should do today.
Yeah, absolutely
but
not.
For it being the game that it was and me expecting it to be the game that it was, I enjoyed it.
Also, it being part of a free package,
but it was fun.
it's pretty cool.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice little arcade game to play every once in a while.
Yep. Yeah, if it's part of a larger thing that like it's included with that, I could play a game that's 45 minutes long. Paying any amount of money for that, nah, I'm good. I'll pass.
Yeah.
I've been playing.
That's the games I'm playing.
I've been playing video games, man. All of which been streamed. I haven't done the Breath of the Wild DLC. I did that now. Well,
Nice.
almost. I'm almost done.
All of it?
I'm at the final Divine Beast situation when you gotta go back to
Nice.
Shrine of Resurrection. I'm at that part. I didn't do it yet.
Nice.
For the most
Did you do
part,
the Trial of the Sword stuff and all
no,
that already
I
too?
still got to do
Okay.
that, but that I'm not doing that on stream. I did everything else on stream. See, the thing that I'm relearning about my time in Breath of the Wild is like the puzzles. I'm fine at the puzzles, but only when I'm able to cheese the puzzle. Like, I'm way better at finding out how to like break the puzzle than I am finding out the thing that they want me to do. I cheat a lot in Breath of the Wild, dude.
Which is great.
Every
Like,
time
that you
I'm
can
like,
cheat? That's awesome.
How you gonna let me cheat? Is the question that I ask every time when I'm playing through the video game. But combat, once I get to combat, I'm cracked in combat. All the Divine Beasts, but the last one that I did, I freaking speed ran.
Yeah.
But Mifa's the Mifa one, that was cringe. That one, I hated that. That one was terrible.
The Wind Blight? No, the Mifa one. Oh, the Ice one.
Yeah. I hated that because they only give you 10 arrows, which is cringe. And also the weapon that they give you is not great for that enemy, especially since it's like you're in water, like you're surrounded by water. So it's not like I'm really going to be able to use that weapon most of the time. So it's just an annoying boss to do, but I did it. I messed him up. And it's funny because like I feel like those DLC shrines, at least for me, were the opposite in difficulty that they were like initially intended to be. Like Mifa's was the hardest by far. Urbosa was nothing. Like I got to Urbosa's at the end of a stream, and I was everybody was like, or people that have played this recently, or you know, just Breath of the Wild experts, were like, man, I don't know, it's gonna be tough. Good luck. I don't know if you're gonna beat that. I freaking destroyed it. I even thought, I was like, okay, I got here. It's the end of the stream. We'll do this next time. And then I was like, it doesn't let me save, so I guess I got to do it. And then I just beat it. So nice. Like that was pretty easy. Yeah, I'll try it once. Beats it. Exactly.
With that one, like, you know, you're fighting, your test is fighting the enemy first and foremost, like is fighting the blight. Whereas I can see, especially in the water, in the Mifa one, you're also kind of fighting the game just because you're like going in the water and stuff. And so like, depending on how stuff goes,
it was mostly fighting the game. because the basis of like I understood what I needed to do against the boss. And I
Right.
was good enough at doing what I needed to do against the boss. But it was like stuff like you got a Cryonis shrine, rune, the like ice cube things that he throws at you. And you have to stasis one of them and hit it back at him. Once it gets to the point that there's 5 of them, and I have to freaking Cryonis 4 of them so that I can get to the point where I can stasis 1. That's when it was like it got messed up, because it's like, all right, I did that thing and then crap, I messed it up. I didn't do it fast enough, so I'm getting pelted by 4 of them and getting stun locked and then taking all this damage because of one mistake that I made.
And that's that feels like the most like traditional Zelda boss thing of probably most of Breath of the Wild. You know, like I can't think of a whole lot of stuff that's more like that.
And for what it's worth, the base game, the reason why that's not hard is because you're not limited to 10 arrows.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like fighting that blight with arrows is easy. There's no problem. I'm just going to headshot you. You're not even going to get a chance to pull out the Cryonis stuff. Like you're just going to fall on the ground and I'm going to run over and I'm going to beat you up.
Yep.
But if I only got 10 arrows, can't really do that.
Yeah. What a silly time.
That said, I think that it's cool that I think that whole setup of like you got to beat them the way that the champions did is pretty cool. That's neat. So it was cool. I wasn't like Trev said Arceus level BS. No, I think I like it more than that. For what it's worth. But yeah, no, like just that sort of stuff, like the challenge being in like, oh, you got stun locked is annoying. Like,
yeah. I can see that.
Except the champions lost. That's a fact. They did lose. They did lose. But I won.
Yep.
It was that whole DLC is just freaking Boy Zelda stunting on the champions and being like, it's not even that hard. I did it. Look.
So true. So yeah, there you go. That's the games we're playing. Unless, is there anything else?
Smash all the time, dude. Grind never stops,
Classic.
man.
That's right.
Did I mention that I'm closer to where? I don't think so. I think I like mentioned it in Sierra's stream. I'm closer to where the local near me is, so I might start going to that. I don't know because I think it also is on Fridays, and I'm not doing that. No, but yeah, no, I don't know. I'll consider it. We'll see. I do.
That'd be fun.
Play the game more with like. In that context.
IRL, yeah, especially in that. I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
And with that, come to Q&A.
That's a fact. Q&A.
No, that's it. Q&A. All right, let's get into these. So from Twitter, we also I asked anything y'all want to see from the Direct, since we're going to be talking about that. Thrillhouse said, Breath of the Wild remake. It's been over 5 years, and that classic needs to be shown some love. What a time! That's Last of Us.
Yep. That's in response to that.
100%.
And I got some pushback in that regard, because people are like, "You're just mad that it's PlayStation," rather than like giving me the grace of understanding that there's a reason why I give PlayStation crap. It's not because I don't like their logo. It's not because I don't want to own their console. Guess what? I already do. It's because they do a lot of cringe stuff that y'all just are okay with, and that's weird. Like, it's weird that the same people I see on my timeline complaining about stuff like Nintendo, they took out the clouds and Ocarina of Time. They ruined my childhood. Those same people can be like, I'll buy The Last of Us for the 3rd time in under 10 years for $70. What?
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, the thing is, like, I don't care about the base announcement, because me personally, what I do is if I don't like something, I just don't buy the thing. And that would be the end of it for me. But it's the fact that I freaking occupy a community, not specifically our community, but like the larger gaming community, where they make it their business to complain about anything that that doesn't seem quote unquote fair to them. And I just want consistency, man. Like, if one thing you're going to cry and say that it's not fair happens when it's the red company, do it when it's the blue one too. Like,
yeah.
And not even just the red company, the red and the green one. They're really good at being angry at the red and the green company, but the blue one can't be mad at that one. Can't be mad at that one.
No, it's really silly. Yeah, agreed. Thrillos goes on to say, LOL, I think we'll see the Metroid Prime remake and hope GB/GBA to NSO in fall. Question would be, do you think Nintendo will ever make smarter moves with online, i.e. current limits to multiplayer?
I think that they will if they see their, like, a reason for it, we can be loud about it and say, like, I don't like that because me, blah, blah. But then again, you got to look at people like you that don't care about that, and people like that were in our chat talking about, like, I mean, I don't care about that either. If the bulk of their audience does not care about the thing that they're taking an L on, they're not going to do it. But
yep,
we just gotta hope that more people feel like it's an L than don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, it's a question of, like, which of these decisions come from just straight from Nintendo Japan, and how in touch or out of touch are they with certain things? Like, I don't know. That's, and also how out of touch are these things with, with Japan as, like, culturally as well, where if the user base there, they don't really care about some of these things, then maybe, like, that doesn't get reported back. So, like, yeah, it's there's probably a little bit less of a direct, like, our response and their output being connected sort of a thing than some other companies. Yeah.
Trev said, to be fair, there were several people in chat who were also very much on the fence with Strikers and were turned off by the multiplayer. That's true.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. I'm just saying that more people than I expected were like, I don't care. Because I expect, again, as somebody that does the things that I do, I expect people to, like, drag any negative thing, and there were so many more people than I ever would have expected to be like, I don't care about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just so many people, like, if they couldn't, and with good reason, can't fill up a family plan if they tried, because, like, it's just easy to not have that many friends that play Switch or whatever. Like, if it weren't for doing this, then, like, I mean, at this point, yeah, most of it's filled with, like, my wife, my sister-in-law, and, like, some family friends that are a family and stuff. But, like, I don't know that I would ever be playing outside of with y'all, that I would play with more than 2 people at a time anyway. So yeah, I can see it just being one of those things that, like, it's a big deal within any, like, the Nintendo streaming community, right. But then for just, like, casual players, probably not, they probably don't even realize that it's a thing. Which, I mean, is good, because that means the majority of people aren't having an issue, which is nice, but would be nice if the issue was just fixed regardless too.
Yeah. That's a fact.
But I mean, I think what Trev says is also very true. The only problem is, I don't know that like, that's a hard metric to have, of, like, people aren't buying a game because of the multiplayer not being a certain way is not, like, a super tangible metric.
Right.
That you can have a spreadsheet on, Yeah. And we love spreadsheets.
The only way that we could, like, that it would have to, like, noticeably underperform, which I doubt it will. I would be shocked if this isn't the best Mario Strikers, the best-selling Mario Strikers game, just by virtue of it being on the Switch.
Yep. For sure.
Also, in tandem with very loud internet backlash. I think would be the only way that we're going to see it, assuming that they don't already plan to do the multiplayer thing.
Exactly.
I think that's the only way that they're going to fix it, and that's probably not going to happen.
Yep. True. Moving on. Next question. Jumpo asks, if Nintendo if Nintendo
Yes, yep.
was to, if Nintendo was to revive a dormant IP in this direct, which one do you think it would be? You say yours.
Go for it.
Well, I mean, I mentioned Golden Sun earlier, so I think that's
true. You did.
Easy enough.
You did do
Might
that.
as well.
Freaking Ice Climbers, dude.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
That's
my
the
answer
one.
until you do it.
Perfect.
Granted, that's not accurate because I don't think that. I just want that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think like Star Fox or
Star
F-Zero
Fox or
feel
F-Zero.
more like
Yeah, I think
likely.
I think Star Fox is more likely than F-Zero, but both of those are more likely than Ice Climbers.
Yep.
So that would be my list in order: is Star Fox, then F-Zero, and then Ice Climbers.
Probably though, it's just going to be Star Tropics.
True. That's a fact.
I need to. That one's on NSO, right? I need to play that.
I have no idea. Probably.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'll find out. Jake Martin said, "Fingers crossed for Mario Kart 9 reveal or the next 3D Mario game."
That would be
I think
dope.
definitely not Mario Kart 9, unfortunately, just because of all the DLC and stuff. But would be fun if so. Next 3D Mario game, yeah, man.
Yeah,
for it.
we're not.
I hope so.
I don't think we're seeing Mario Kart 9 until maybe like 2024, and maybe not even that. But yeah, next 3D Mario game, I could see that being a lot sooner.
It's true. All right, and then questions from Discord. Rock and Val asked, depending on how well Striker sells, do you think we could see remakes of other Mario sports titles like baseball for the Switch's future?
Remakes, no. But sequels,
Like
yes.
I think it's a tricky answer only because tennis, golf are like shoe-ins anyway. Strikers has a series, like there are 2 Strikers games, which like it's just 2.
Yeah, just like baseball.
But
There's 2 baseball.
Oh, there's 2 baseball. Okay, yeah. So it really is a
GameCube
question
and
of like
there's one on Wii.
soccer's just like huge.
Yeah.
And baseball is like not as huge.
Yeah, baseball is not big anymore.
So it's a little bit tricky just in that regard. But yeah, I mean, why not? If they're waiting, I'd say why not? That's the answer I gave. Done.
Yeah, I could see them doing it, but if they're going to do it, it's not going to be a remake. It would be a new game.
And I think baseball is where it ends. I don't, or a new Mario sports game, perhaps.
True.
I don't
like,
think.
I mean, they could do like basketball, because I mean,
like 3-on-3 hoops or whatever.
Not necessarily that, but like Mario basketball. Like a similar situation. It might not be like I could even see them like rebrand it as something else. Rather than the 3-on-3 hoops, they call it like Mario Dunkers or something.
Mega Man said Mario Rugby.
No.
All caps. I think that's the well. I mean, I think that's the one. I mean, I could also see them bringing back the like Mario sports mix kind of a thing, as a stopgap between this and like, probably they're going to do another Mario Tennis game down the road at some point. And
Trev said the Street series did very well, and that was 3v3. Yeah, no, we're not saying, or at least I'm not saying I don't think that they won't make it 3v3 in terms of like player v player. I mean like the series called 3v3 hoops. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they would do that. Because I don't know how much brand recognition that has, and I think even removed from that, it's just a bad title. That if they wanted to make it like a thing, TM, they would probably call it something else.
Nice. Yep. Also, for the record, Star Tropics is on NSO, so there we go. Now we know. RP1998 asked, do you guys believe that it is now time for Nintendo to announce Game Boy/GBA to NSO on the next Direct?
Yes. I talked about that a little bit earlier.
You sure did.
Yes. Because it's the thing that, I mean, we have enough reason to believe that it is happening. And where else would you do it? Like...
I think, it's... the only thing going for me is Precedent has a lot of these things in later in the year. So like I'm not holding out hope for it immediately. I definitely expect it by the end of September or something like that. But I hope that it's here instead, because here's now. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm indifferent.
Works for me.
Like, I don't specifically hope for it because, again, just like the rest of those things, the best that these things can hope to do for me is me play them one time and be like, that was dope, and then never touch it again. If I touch it at all, you know. So that is probably what's going to happen here. I think that like the only like retro games that have a chance to like have me like on board for longer than that is the OG Smash and Pokemon Stadium. Other than that, I don't care.
Makes sense. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely more games for me that I would want to play. But then again, there's a bunch of games that are already on NSO that I would want to play theoretically, but like because they're just there anyway, and I have other games that I'm playing.
Yep.
I'm not like immediately playing them or anything. So it's for me, it's just nice to have them available if I should want them, but still. Better put them on or I'm canceling everything. Mr. Mark Samuel Erickson. I don't know if that's your middle name, Mark. I'm just fully guessing.
I'm like, damn.
It feels right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Asked us, you can pick what close. Oh, Steven. You can pick one game to shadow drop at the next direct, but at the price of canceling 2 games. What are your picks?
Cancel Mario, Rabbids, and Fire Emblem. You don't even gotta announce a game, dude. Just cancel those ones. Thanks. See y'all later. Peace out. No, I'm joking. Shadow.
What is that?
Pick one game. Does it have to be a game that exists?
No. Pick whatever you want.
I mean, if even the game that exists, wow, I subscribe. But yeah, no, freaking Pokemon, dude, drop Pokemon now.
Oh yeah.
It went in now.
Okay, well, I'll pick my games to cancel first. Probably Pokemon, and also Pokemon. Just 2.
Yeah, just
both
Pokemon
of them.
Scarlet and also
And
Violet.
Pokemon Violet. Yeah, I don't know. Canceling games. Let's see. Of the ones that are, oh man, it just like for me, because I don't really care about some of these. I don't want to do that to anybody. But sure, Bayonetta 3. Sorry about it. I'm probably not gonna play that game anyway. So
Yeah.
there it goes.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's not too late. Mario Strikers came out today. So
Cancel the game that currently exists.
yeah,
I
that's how
mean,
you
part
do
of
it.
me wants to say Xenoblade because I feel like I have to play that or at least try it because I tried all the other ones.
I mean, that one you can download from my profile though, because I will be picking that one
that's
up, I'm
true.
pretty sure, so.
But that's the thing though. I have a voucher, so I was like, I was probably going to use the voucher on that.
Yeah.
But I could just use the
just save that
voucher
for
on
something else.
Splatoon.
Yeah,
Because I had it all planned out, man. I was going. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna play freaking because it's a 4-player multiplayer situation. We're gonna play it on a stream. I'm gonna play Pokemon Scarlet specifically with Trav and Youth and Alec. We're gonna play that and we're gonna play through the game. But I'm also gonna just play the game by myself so that I can make content in a good amount of time, you know, because like playing a game with 3 other people is not going to be like as fast as just playing through it by myself.
Right.
So I was going to use my voucher to be able to like get it early to play it on stream on one of the versions and then just get the freaking double pack, dude. Because why not, man? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Why not?
Makes sense. As far as the game to shadow drop, I'm just gonna go classic and say Sports Story. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Boo.
Or
not boo the game, but boo the game. You know, like I want to play the game, but I don't know if I'm wasting my shadow drop on a game that's not going to last that long. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like it's going to be like a smaller game.
Yeah. But you know what? I mean, it's a shadow drop. That's fine. Sure. Okay. Shout out Breath of the Wild 3. Why not?
Yeah.
There you go. That's the one.
That's what freaking, Metroid Prime 3, 4. That's what it is.
7.
7?
18.
Yeah, man. The trilogy. Drop the trilogy.
It's true. And with that, that's a podcast, y'all.
It's true.
This is
did
pod
the
racing.
podcast. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. This time I'm going to remember to go to the end screen scene. We're here. You can't hear Parker anymore. Well, actually, no, you can't hear Parker anymore. But goodbye. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.